Resting as awareness does not mean getting into a state. A state is identifying timeless awareness as something and then trying to stay in that something. And that's just an anomaly of point of view. It's not realization of timeless awareness. In timeless awareness, there are no extremes. There's no position or frame of reference anywhere that needs to be adopted, no matter what it is. So we're not trying to stay in stillness, and we're not trying to stay in the feeling of being, and we're not trying to live in an impersonal way. You see, as soon as we say that we're doing something, there's a doer who's doing something. But if we take any of these terms, living in an impersonal way, stillness, the feeling of being, what do we need to even experience those terms? Awareness. So you see, awareness is what we want to get familiar with. We don't want to get familiar with a state, no matter how much better it may seem than the current points of view we have. Because sometimes these states, they can seem a lot better than the current points of view we have. If we can get into a state of stillness or emptiness or non-conceptuality or bliss or emptiness, whatever it is, and stay there, it might feel pretty good compared to what we've had going on. But, you know, all these are just other points of view. They're just, like I said, an anomaly of point of view. They're not complete freedom, the complete timeless freedom of living as all points of view with no need to separate out from anything. When we gain familiarity with awareness, that by which we are self-aware, then everything about us starts to become amusing. We go from thinking about our thoughts and emotions as enemies to seeing that they've never been enemies. They've always been allies. They're not something that we have to beat off with a stick or try to get away from or try to change into some other better thoughts or some other better emotions. All we need to do is rest as awareness and see that these descriptions, these labels that are applied to everything, that they've never been anything. Just like the personal identity can't be found to exist, neither can an authentic underlying basis for a label, any label. There's nothing there to apply it to. There's only the pure space of timeless awareness and nothing else. And many people can understand this today. We can understand this easily because we have these incredible machines. We show ourselves all the time that nothing exists. We throw it under an electron microscope, anything, personal identity, anything that's labeled tangible or intangible. Put it under an electron microscope, throw it in a particle accelerator, and what do we see? There's nothing there. There's nothing but space. So why persist in a primitive superstition about ourselves as divided and separated out and having a personal identity? When there's a personal identity, we're automatically at war. We're at war within ourselves and we're at war with other beings because we're constantly involved in the grind of proving ourselves to be. And we substantialize ourselves with points of view that we relate back to this personal identity. And then we compete with others and try to show our abilities to them through all these points of view. Like, this is me, I'm my points of view. In order to know you, I have to know your points of view. And, there's always this separation because you've got your identity, I've got mine, and yours will never be good enough for mine, and this is going on within ourselves and within each of us as people too. How does it go on within us? It goes on within us because we're at war with our thoughts and emotions. We're saying, oh, I've got to have more positive thoughts. I've got to have more positive emotions. And I've got to get rid of the negative ones. There's nothing that needs to be done about naturally self-appearing appearances of awareness. Nothing needs to be done about them, no matter what their labels are. All we really need to do is get familiar with the reality that they are the basic space of awareness and nothing else. They've always been pure from the beginningless beginning. There isn't anything special that a label imputes about anything. So when we rest as awareness and we just allow everything to be as it is, all the thoughts, all the emotions, all the experiences, then more and more we realize what wisdom is. The clear light of wisdom begins to dawn, and we can start to laugh at ourselves for taking ourselves so seriously. And also, we have tremendous compassion that arises. So it's not like we're getting into some kind of a state that's disconnected or doesn't have any feeling tone at all. We have a tremendous warmth of compassion that appears for ourselves and the way we've fooled ourselves throughout our lives by thinking that all our thoughts and emotions mean something. And then we also, with that self-compassion, that self-kindness, that self-love that is the only ultimate and true self-kindness and self-love and self-compassion, we then instantaneously have compassion for everyone else because we know everyone else is in the same boat. And so no longer are we in this bipartisan positioning with everyone else where we're saying, oh, my points of view are the right points of view and yours aren't. Because, we will never meet anyone who has points of view that match ours. And we'll never be able to make the world into a place where all the points of view match each other and all the beings. That would be like a land of robots, that would be a machine-like existence. So, when we're sucking on our pacifier personal identity, that is a machine-like existence because we're spending our whole life like a robot, trying to have good thoughts and good emotions and get rid of the bad thoughts and bad emotions. And that leads nowhere. We might get what we consider to be better thoughts and emotions. There are people in this room who, of course, done that through all kinds of methods and practices. However, that isn't freedom. It's not freedom. And getting into a state isn't freedom either.